is the biggest basketball brand in Kenya and the only Kenyan team to compete at a continental level. So we're trying to tell that story, what it's taken to build that brand to this level. Talent is huge for us. So our players on the pro side are aged from 19 to mid-30s. It's a combination of players who have been born and bred in Kenya, and a combination of Kenyan players who were either born outside the country or left the country, but are now back because they finally have a professional basketball team that they feel is worth their time for them to stay in Kenya and can treat them as professionals and compensate them accordingly. So Area Locale is actually from Nyakach, and we have a number from the Lake Basin region. So just highlighting how this region is actually huge as a talent hub, not just for basketball, but sports in general. So I want to go into a bit about, if you're a city or if you're a corporate partner, how do you think about sports and attracting sports ventures into your city? Earlier in the morning, there were a lot of remarks about how key to the idea of a smart city is humanity and being human-centric, right? Two was this idea of accessibility. And then three, the idea that Kisumu is actually really open to investment. So for me, sitting on the sports side and running a sports venture, what does it mean if I come to Kisumu and I say, I want to put a venture here? What do I need to see, right? So one of the things that we are focusing on is providing entertainment venues. Now, there's a few models that exist for this. One, if I were to come to Kisumu City, things that would make it attractive for me is one, can we get a land deal going? Can we get certain concessions on land or tax rebates that make it worthwhile for me to bring my developer and put a 3,000 to 15,000 capacity arena in this city and be able to capitalize on the fandom here? So the way we think about it right now is we want to do a 2,500 to 3,000 capacity arena that to start with, because the cost is low, that we can do in-house. And then 2-3 years from now, expand that to 5,000, 7,000 capacity plus, and then have the smaller one be focused on youth recreation opportunities, and then the big one be focused on more professional opportunities. The beauty about this is that when you have an indoor arena, it's not just basketball, right? You can have a basketball game in the afternoon, a concert at night, a SACCO AGM the next morning, a festival the next evening. So it's really multi-purpose, and you think about, today morning, it was mentioned that sports and entertainment is one of the, the 9 modules that are being focused on in the smart cities agenda, right? So thinking about sports not just as sports, but really as an entertainment hub, and how do you attract other entertainment activities to that venue to monetize that? So for us, corporate partners on board, we can sell things like naming rights to the arena. So typically how it works is a corporate partner would come, let's say the city has given us a concession on land, we get a corporate partner to come, put a stake of money in the ground and say, we are buying the naming rights for this arena, so we can be called, the Coop Bank Arena, the Safaricom Arena, the Equity Bank Arena, etc. And then actually use those funds to do the development of the arena. The other thing for us is really about, saying to corporate partners, we can help you build brand loyalty, right? If in 2 years, we've been able to go from 2,000 followers to 180,000, imagine where we can take your brand in the next 2 to 3 years. So for us, we sell things like jersey sponsorship, game day activation, social media promotion, VIP access at our games. So let's say we were to do an arena in Kisumu City, beyond the general seating, we'd have things like VIP suites, VIP lodges, that people can come and host their VIP guests as part of the game day experience. The other thing we're working on is thinking through how we capitalize on the athletes' stories to build the brand and build brand awareness. So, by show of hands, does anybody in this room follow any sports team? Do you have any sports team that you like? Right? So for most people, you don't just magically fall in love with a sports team. There's an athlete that you like and that you love, and then because you like that athlete, you begin to follow that team. And we are seeing the same with our athletes. They have really compelling stories. Garang Dieng was born in Eldoret, came up through the Kenyan system. He actually plays for Thunder, but also for the South Sudan national team. Tyler Ongwae is a Kenyan veteran basketball player, was previously playing in Germany, took half his pay to come back home and play for Thunder because he really wanted to play for a Kenyan team. We have Albert Einstein Odero here, who is Kenyan, but grew up in the US and has now come back to Kenya to play for Thunder because he wants to be able to play in his home country. So there's a lot of compelling things we can do with the storytelling to build fandom. The other thing is that once you have a product, players that people love, you also have visibility. So for example, when we play in the Basketball Africa League, those games are available on all NBA platforms globally. So if you're a corporate partner, you're getting visibility not just in Kenya, but actually across the continent and across the globe. And as I mentioned, there's a documentary we're working on as well, right? So you can imagine, once this goes live, the kind of visibility that Nairobi as a city will get, because it's actually the name of the city on the team. It's Nairobi City Thunder, right? So there's a lot of opportunities to also have sports tourism and bring fans into your city through sports. When we played in the Basketball Africa League in May, we played in Kigali, and hundreds of fans from Nairobi, from Kenya, Eldoret, Kisumu, got on buses to Kigali to support the team. And at that tournament, there was different countries represented. There was Libya, there was South Africa. So you can imagine if a city like Kisumu is hosting top-tier sports events, what that does for tourism in this region. So I think, just to wrap it up, I would say that from a talent perspective, there's also, there's incredible potential at the youth level. So Thunder being a pro team, there's still opportunity to create pathways for these young people who are trying to understand, one, can I make it as a pro athlete? But the reality is that only 1% of kids that play sports in high schools become professionals. So as a city, you need to ask yourselves, what's our philosophy as a city around sports? Are we trying to get professionals into the sports space? Are we pursuing sports for health reasons? Are we pursuing sports for accessibility reasons, just to give people a chance to have recreational opportunities, etc.? Once you know what that path is, you can then collaborate with ventures like ourselves to say, if Thunder Sports is to come into Kisumu, what makes sense? Do you want us to focus on a professional team? Do you want us to focus on youth sports and those talent development pathways? Do you want to focus on infrastructure, etc.? I think for me, as somebody who is running a team in Nairobi and looking at Kisumu, there are a few things that stand out. Number one, this is a talent hub. So if you look at the sports in Kenya and the talent that comes out of this region, Western, Nyanza, the North Rift region, especially in high school competitions, this region dominates. So if I'm doing anything academy related, a lot of my talent is already coming from this region, so it makes sense to come here, right? So then for me as a businesswoman, the incentives need to be in place. Why should I come to Kisumu as opposed to Eldoret or as opposed to Naivasha? This being a city is very compelling, right? Also, I think if you don't live in Kisumu, you might take this for granted. But Kisumu has a very calm vibe. Like, this city doesn't feel chaotic, which I think is something that is really going for the city. So if I'm hosting a tournament or a series of games in this city, I know I can sell game tickets. I can package that with tours on the lake. There's already a thriving hospitality industry. There's talent in the region. So I think it's really a matter of being a bit more strategic. For me, I would urge the county to think about how you can convene those of us who are in the sports and entertainment space who are looking to branch outside of Nairobi and tap into this region for talent. Because for us, we are looking beyond Kenya. We have players from South Sudan. Our general manager is from Somalia. We have interest in talent from Tanzania. So Kisumu is actually really accessible as a talent hub from Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania. So let's think about that. Call us to the table to see what we can do together. Otherwise, Prof, thank you very much for this invite. It's a pleasure to be here and open to conversations and collaboration. Thank you.
Anybody, any question? The potential, yes. Where's the mic? There's a potential Kisumu, you have talent, but no sports arena. No, they're bringing the mic. Oh, I thought there was a mic. Oh.
Thank you for that presentation that you've given. But I heard you talk about looking for partnerships and also those who can assist. And one of the products of those who grew up in Kisumu, where we started teams like Lakers and some called Juakali, that actually was self-sponsored from students from different schools, from Maseno, Kisumu Boys, and also Cardinal. So what happened is that we grew with it, and there were no support, and we managed ourselves. Some of us played for the national team. At the moment, as I'm talking to you, the same concept is in Kisumu again. And you realize that there are so many teams here about that they lack sponsorship. There's Lakeside basketball team here. There's also Hoopers playing here. If you look at those boys, they are very, very talented. I always go to Nyayo Stadium, by the way, to watch some of those games. We go so much on this South Sudanese. In fact, when you go there, you may think you're in Juba. The main talents are in Kisumu. Kisumu has been actually the nursery and the feeder in soccer and basketball for this country. There's so many names. Could you please have a chance to go and get those boys every weekend at sports ground? The talents are enormous. I always go there to watch them. I'm just challenging you to do that instead of, before we go for Tanzania, for those other areas. The talent here is just enormous because there are so many students who have finished school and they are actually just in Kisumu having pastime because they love basketball, but they have lack of sponsorship. So please try to do that, and it will really develop a lot in terms of nurturing talent and making people to grow from what they're trying to do and they love most. I think it would be very good if you do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for that comment. I think just as part of our academy effort, one of the things we'll be doing is working with scouts across the country, because talent is not concentrated only in Nairobi. Actually, we know there's a lot of talent outside Nairobi that just doesn't get visibility. And Kisumu is one of the areas we've identified as a big, big hub for that talent. Fun fact, Lakeside was one of the teams we looked at when we were looking at a team to acquire. So there's a chance we come back this side to grow it.
So I also have a question. Thank you very much for your good and interesting presentation. There has been a very active football federation in Kisumu, Kisumu Youth Football Federation or Association, not sure if you're aware, but there were over 2,000 youths playing football every weekend. So if you would be interested, I could put you in touch with the original organizers. I thought that would be maybe a complimentary entry into Kisumu. Thanks.
Fantastic, thank you. Happy to be connected. Okay, the question is how to encourage local groups to develop the talent and connect with us. So I think a lot of times what we see in sports is a chicken and egg problem, where we say, oh, we need sponsors to come and support us so we can grow big. Or, you know, what do we do in the beginning? So one of the things that we realized when we were growing Thunder is that when we were at 2,000 followers, when we just acquired the team, brands don't want to talk to you because you're too small. They're like 2,000, what am I going to do with your audience, right? And so there's a certain element in which the groups, so the small sports clubs, the small businesses around them, have to take that first step to invest in your own visibility. Very basic things. Grow your social media pages, invest in your marketing, grow the eyeballs behind the team. Once you do that, it's a lot easier to attract talent. I think there's also opportunity in terms of connecting with Thunder and Twende Sports. I would say probably the talent aspect would be the easiest to begin with. My email is sandra@twendesports.com for anybody that wants to reach out. That's sandra@twendesports.com. So happy to have a conversation around, you know, what the talent side looks like there. I would also say that sometimes what we don't see much of, but we need to be doing when we're trying to do a bit more of in Nairobi, is that you'll find one team trying to go at it alone. So like Thunder or Moja trying to do something alone. But when you come together as a group of teams, you can actually petition your federation to start to change things on the ground or the local community. If I was sitting on a corporate desk and I were to get 4, 5, 6 teams bringing me a joint proposal, I'm a lot more likely to support that because there's numbers behind it as opposed to everybody trying to go at it alone. Yeah.
Girls basketball.
All right, girls basketball, we have an amateur girls basketball team. So beneath Nairobi City Thunder, Thunder is a pro team. Beneath that, we have amateur teams that play in the Nairobi Street League. So a men's team, a women's team. That league, Nairobi Street League, suspended the women's tournament a few months ago, so we paused the girls tournament. But there's plans to actually grow that team beyond amateur into a pro outfit as well. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Christopher Ndijo, and I just want to thank you for the good presentation that you had, and I would like self-sponsored club, and also is a community club. So we'll come and ask for some of your proposals so that you can help us, so that we can also be semi-pro. Thank you.
Fantastic. Rugby is actually a darling of my heart.
And by the way, we are having a sevens tournament.
Dallas Sevens.
Dallas
I'm
Sevens.
aware. So
Yes.
I played rugby for Kenya actually, 2014 and 2016. I played for Queens and Homeboys, so rugby is very, very close to my heart. Let's speak after this
Thank you.
panel. Yeah.
It's visible to be in Kisumu or Nairobi. Kisumu has 7 counties. Each one of those counties has several wards, which are basically rural. And basketball is an urban game, the way we promote it. What are the plans to increase reach to the rural population? Because apart from making Kisumu a smart city, we're also thinking of making the rural areas smart villages. How do we psych the rural areas to pick basketball and give them facilities?
So my recommendation to the county leadership would be to think of sports infrastructure as not one unit. I'll give an example. If I were to task you and say, please go and develop an agriculture strategy for the county, if you came back to me and said, oh, we have a strategy that can feed 1,000 people really well, that would be a failure, right? Because everybody must eat. So it's the same thing in sports, right? If you want to bring up the entire ecosystem, we have to think about infrastructure not as just one piece, but the ecosystem. Me as a private partner, if I'm thinking infrastructure, I'm going to come to the center of the city because I can monetize there. I know that I'll have foot traffic, I can sell tickets, I can sell concessions. But if you think of sports as a public good in the government responsibility sense of the matter, then you'd actually want to think about, if I have X million shillings to spend, I might be better off actually putting a small outdoor court in every ward or in every school, so that, or in one school that's like a catchment school for the different schools in that area. So I can say, at least in each ward, we have X number of basketball courts. As you work your way down to a bigger facility. Myself, as a private business person, it's highly unlikely that I will go to wards in rural counties and put infrastructure there. But as a government, it's on the government to think about, if we are thinking about sports and health as a public good, how do we need to change about how we think about infrastructure to give access to rural kids and rural communities? And it goes beyond basketball courts, right? It's things like fields or walking areas where people can actually just take a walk in the evening. So there's a certain element of planning when you're looking at the rural space that's different from the urban space. It's harder to monetize for private investors, but there's a way we can make it work if there's concerted effort from the government to say, we are willing to go into those spaces and provide it as a public good. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sandra, thank you very much. Let's give her a clap. And let us all join Nairobi Thunder and make the next Thunder be Kisumu. Next presentation is health and is coming from Medaditus. And I want Uganda to listen carefully to this, because this is now about making medicine around the lake region.
Excellency Governor, we want to thank you for the opportunity of giving us this time to share all protocols observed. Medaditus is a company newly registered in Kenya as Medatis Pharmaceuticals Kenya Limited. It is a subsidiary of U.S. company, which is Medatis Inc. Just wondering how I change the slides. Will you roll the slides for me? Okay, next slide. That one. It's very interesting how the story started. Governor Nyong'o met the CEO of Medatis Pharmaceuticals.
Can you hear the back?
You can't hear? You can hear now. The governor met Medatis Pharmaceuticals CEO, Dhiren Taka. And the governor told him that I have one bullet which I must use as part of my legacy. This bullet turned out to be making drugs in Kisumu. So the governor put together a team, a task force that was to work with this American company to develop the idea and to bring to the ground this company. I'd like to ask the members of this task force if they are here, because I'm the chair of this task force. If they are here, please, can you just stand so that people can see you? I see Dr. Rai here, Dr. Rogo, Professor Rogo. I saw, yes. This is the team that has brought this company to the ground. Now, the context is the company is being developed in the presence of a challenge. Poor access to quality, affordable medicines is one of the challenges that are being addressed. You can see that pharma manufacturers in Africa, it's only 400 about there. But in India, there are more than 10,000. Just to give an example. There is heavy reliance on importation of drugs and lack of consistent quality and reliable supply chain. And we have substandard and falsified medicines which are prevalent. What Medatis is trying to bring to bear is one, to accelerate manufacturing using very modern technology. And the technology is a portable, continuous manufacturing. Also, we are applying technology, blockchain technology, to ensure integrity and quality of the drugs, as I will explain. We are using prefabricated, specialized manufacturing spaces, pods, which accelerates the manufacturing process. Now, Medatis is in partnerships with the Kenya government, of course, the county government, and there is a commitment from Governor Nyong'o's team, government, which has resulted in making available 10 acres of land. A lease has been signed with Medatis, and this land is near Great Lakes University. And commitment from Medatis is to build a 5.4 billion Kenya shilling or $40 million manufacturing plant in Kisumu. The focus is on non-communicable diseases for now. So we're going to make drugs for cancer, and I'm sure the cancer project here would benefit. We're going to make drugs for diabetes, for cardiovascular disease, including hypertension, for sickle cell disease as well. Then we'll come to manufacturing HIV, malaria, tuberculosis drugs, and neglected tropical diseases as well. There will be a special focus on pediatric drugs across all diseases. And you can see this is a very big challenge. And in a way, Kisumu will be at the forefront of making available these drugs. The go-to-market strategy basically is to build a pharmaceutical enterprise by forging strategic partnerships to de-risk the project and to achieve fast track-up. Kisumu is strategically located, as we have said, in this region with a population of over 300 million people. And that has attracted supporters and financiers, including Afrexim Bank, that has already approved $4.4 million for project preparation. I want to say that making drugs is not like anything we know. It takes 3 to even 7 years to start manufacturing drugs. But Medadata's technology cuts this period to a much shorter duration, because I'll show you what it is. It is estimated that with 6 million people, it will serve 6 million people locally in Kenya. Kenya itself is a bank-friendly country, investor-friendly, with the highest venture capital to GDP ratio of any country on the continent. Kenya is committed to attracting technology and the depth of localized pharmaceutical production in the continent, in this country, with broader opportunities that will reach over 300 million people. Now, the solution that Medadata is providing, number one, is what we call continuous modular manufacturing. Now, listen to me very carefully. This technology is relatively new in Africa. In fact, it's the first time in Africa that is being deployed. It is now currently used in Europe and the USA as well, basically in the developed countries. But this, the pioneers of Medadata saw it wise to bring it to Kisumu as the first sub-Saharan Africa location to apply this technology. The technology is a vertical technology where ingredients, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, are built downwards instead of what we call batch manufacturing, which is horizontal. Now, because of this technology, we can make drugs within a short period of time, within days. In the other technology, which is batch technology, it takes a while, even up to a month, to make drugs. Now, the quantity that is produced by this technology would be up to 2 billion tablets a year for one particular drug. Now, to transition from one product to another is also is much shorter with this technology, because it doesn't take long to clean the vertical system as opposed to the horizontal batch manufacturing process. Also, quality assurance, we know, is by batches. You often hear that you're testing batches for quality. In this process, quality is assured by each tablet. There's a difference. And in many ways, because of this technology, the cost of production is reduced by 50%. So affordability becomes a key area for this technology. As I said, it's not been tried in Africa, but obviously it's working elsewhere. By using this advanced blockchain technology, we're assuring the immutability of data. The footprints in this process, you cannot alter any information in this system. If you do, your footprints will be there. So this is part of the quality assurance that is guaranteed in this process. And the regulators are free to come in any time and check the process and test quality real time. This is one of the advantages of this new technology. Now, it is very simple. I was being asked today, when are we starting to build the factory? And I told Governor, we have already started. And people are asking, well, when are you people starting? Already, we have deployed personnel. We have also started studies. And one of the studies going on right now is environmental impact assessment, which are people on the ground. They are going to do that very soon and complete it. And the pods, which are being used to manufacture these drugs, are not necessarily built here. They are built elsewhere. They're just brought here and then assembled and production starts. As you can see, most of these pods are put in these structures which are here illustrated, and they can be, you can move them from one place to another. It's part of the technology. So although Kisumu is not seeing a big building coming up right now, I want to assure you that when this starts, you will see a very rapid process. Now, product rollout. The drugs that will be made in Kisumu. You know, when you go into a pharmacy and you buy drugs, the first question is, where is it made? If it is made in some places, people don't like them. Okay? If it's made in UK or Europe place, there's some value attached to the place in which the drugs are made. So will Kisumu, made in Kisumu, be attached to quality? We believe very strongly that when people will see the drugs being made in Kisumu, and they will see how they respond to those drugs, with time we'll have a trust made in Kisumu. And because we are saying that this process is being applied for the first time in Africa, and by that time, when we start making Kisumu, made in Kisumu, it will be attached to quality in a way that will be very different. So the cardiovascular diseases, diabetic drugs, anti-cancer drugs, top of the list. And then we move on to making HIV drugs, tuberculosis drugs, and malaria drugs. It will be made right here in Kisumu. And then we move on to neglected tropical diseases as it is. And we have known that pediatric preparations are a big problem. So this is one area which we are going to address as well. Now, we have put together a world-class team, big pharma team, pharma startups, people who experience pharma startups, non-profit groups, regulatory experience, technology experience, and people with leadership in pharma and educational institutions as well. So this is more or less a story. It's a story of Africa making quality drugs. And you see, we have been very privileged with Governor Nyong'o leading us. He's the one who's leading this process. We are supporting him. And we are hopeful, as Professor Rogo or Dr. Rai will tell you, and Dr. Ganda, who is also the Chief of Health, that we are committed people. In fact, somebody asked us, can we have an experiment, an African experiment, where you can do this thing without, always, what is in it for me? The team that has led this process has not asked that question. I want to tell you that the whole process, the Kisumu team, has not asked Medaditus what is in it for me. And if anybody thinks that anybody has received anything from this process, I want to tell you categorically that most of this work is being done by volunteers under Governor Nyong'o. And we have seasoned directors. This is our team for now. The senior management team, Darren Tucker, who is the CEO of Medaditus, is a very experienced man. They work together with Bob Bloom, who is also part of the big team. Nazim Mohammed is an international consultant in pharma. We have many others, like George Mugi, who is experienced in manufacturing here. We have David Stefanik, we have Lauren, we have Steve Amon, we have Paul. And then we have board of directors. Kama is a member of the board of directors of Medaditus. I'm also in the board of the Kenya pharmaceutical part of the company. Dr. Ganda, Dr. Rai, and the others who have played a very big role in this process. I want to tell you that all of the ministers in Governor Nyong'o's office, including the finance minister, including especially Dr. Ganda there, including all the other people in the lands, have had a major role to play. We have been very quiet. We're doing this very quietly. We're not making any noise about it. So most people may not know what has been achieved so far. The business model involves partnerships, and of course, Kisumu County is tops. Remedy is specialized in blockchain technology. Glati is specialized in continuous modular manufacturing and ports manufacturing. And then, of course, we have CPT and this is Neglected Diseases Initiative, and we have AHB as well. financing. We have attracted funding from Afrexim Bank. The $4.4 million was actually approved last year in this room and has already been disbursed. So this is what is going to do the steps that are necessary for regulatory issues and registration of drugs, as you can imagine. This process is ongoing right now, and one of the studies already almost being completed here in Kisumu, the other studies as well. And you can imagine when you're making drugs and you're the primary source of those drugs, you must go through that process and make sure that every drug that you're making, now we are targeting 20 drugs as of now. Each drug must be studied before you even make them. Then formulation also takes place to formulate the drugs as well. Milestones. Governor Nyong'o has allocated 10 acres to us, to Medaditus, and this is really highly appreciated. The Afrexim Bank, of course, has agreed on a facility preparation funds. Already, we have more or less got the site. The site is fenced by the county. It is there near Great Lakes University, and we have contractors now who are already being engaged or on the process of being engaged. We have, in fact, recruited staff. In Kenya, I'd like to introduce to you Fazana, who is the Chief Operating Officer for the country, for the company. Yeah, Fazana, please stand so that we can see you. And then we have also recruited Kisumu's very own Caroline, who is here. Is Caroline here? Caroline, please stand. We need to give Caroline a big clap because she's our first recruit in Kisumu, and hope that she will be able to drive this agenda. Yes, I talked about contractors. Yes, next. We will raise up to $7 million in equity funds and commission the studies which we have started and select continuous manufacturing machinery which is also in process. And we're hoping that by 2026 all this will be done and we will then start to manufacture drugs in 2027. Governor Nyong'o wants it to be done like yesterday, but you can imagine that making drugs is not a walk in the park. You cannot make drugs in a year or two. The reason we can make them in 3 years is because of the technology which is being applied. Next. Yeah, so the time to locally produce quality and affordable medicines is now, so that we can grow in pharma industry, we can have healthier people, can have greater economic impact. And this is the voice of Bob Bloom, and Dhiren Thakur, who are pioneering this whole process. I thank you.
Questions? Any? None. So you'll soon.
Thank you for your presentation. Two things. One is you are building the manufacturer in Kisumu, right? So I didn't miss the kind of first part of your talk. What kind of the tablets you are planning to produce in the stage 1? And another question is you basically mentioned about the blockchain. So blockchain is basically you need to just make sure everything is transparent from the producers to the final stage of a consumer. Right. So is that kind of added value, business model, or that blockchain will be, someone else can just build it for you?
The drugs I mentioned are the following: cardiovascular drugs, which includes antihypertension drugs, diabetes drugs, and anti-cancer drugs. These are the first ones we're talking to. It is basically non-communicable diseases control drugs. That's the first one. Then we move on to the second layer of HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria drugs. And then thirdly, we can look at neglected tropical disease drugs as well. Now, blockchain technology is applied to make sure that there is integrity of data as we manufacture. And it is open to anyone to come in and check the quality of data, check the process at any point. It will be this transparency in doing this. So anybody will be welcome. Regulatory processes will be welcome to do that. We are talking to Pharmacy and Poisons Board. They don't know much about this process, so we'll have to train. We'll have to have some training to make sure they can actually do this. And blockchain technology will give them the assurance that our process is really of high integrity.
One final question. So you chose Kisumu rather
Yes.
than Nairobi, for example, right? Because if you just produce all the drugs and you need to sell it through the whole, wholesaler or, all the kind of channels and to sell those. And why did you choose Kisumu rather than Nairobi?
Why we chose Kisumu, I want one of us to respond, one of the people from the task team, Professor Rogo. Why did we choose Kisumu?
Because it is the best. This was a big competition because when the investors started working on this, they had looked at that gap in medicinal production, that India and Africa, with about the same population, India has 10,000 manufacturers. Africa has 400. And those 400, if you count, Kenya alone in East Africa, we have about 40, and Kenya has 38. Most of the ones that we have in East Africa are basically small, attached to the Indian company that basically makes tablets and so on, but nothing more than that. So you look at the gap, and you look at the amount of the need. It's just unbelievable. And for a long time, the global health investment has been talking about manufacturing in Africa, but nobody wanted to go into this except in South Africa until COVID. So when COVID hit us, all of a sudden the planes were not flying, the ships were not moving, and Africa had no medicine. So now this is now a race to do that, not only medicines, but vaccines too. So the last three cities that competed were Dakar, Senegal, and Kigali, and Kisumu. So we had to host these people here and convince them that we were better than Kigali and Dakar. Dakar was had an advantage in that is in the west coast, very, very close to the US. Big market in West Africa. Bilingual, French speaking too. And it also had a very active research and vaccine market. Kigali was attractive because of Kagame. Organized, everything there, ease of doing business. You go in and within a short time, everything is sorted out. Kisumu had double disadvantage. One was being a secondary city, because so far there is no secondary city that is producing medicine in Africa. It's all in the capital cities. And two was that the Nairobi was so dominant. So I will not give you the trick, but the three of us managed to convince them that Kisumu was better. There was three things. One was the leadership. I think the governor did a very, very good job. He presented a calm face of somebody reliable, and that was politics. The second one was the location. That Kisumu, with its sitting on the lake and connectivity now, air, road, railway, and lake. In fact, we took them on a boat ride just to show how quickly you can reach Mwanza and how quickly you can reach Burundi through Kigoma. So they saw that this was really central. Then Kisumu also, people don't know this, has very, very good high voltage power supply. I know Kisumu won't believe it because of the frequent blackouts. But that blackout is because we have more voltage than we can consume. So Kenya Power spent most times trying to contain that, rather than that. Because all other industries had gone down, especially sugar industry, that was a big consumer. So they looked at that and they said, you have power, you have water, you have good connectivity, and then the final one was human resource. They looked at the brains here, and there was just no comparison. There was just no comparison. We were so way ahead of Dakar and Kigali. And when they went to Kigali, they found that anybody as bright as me was from here anyway. So there was there was no comparison. So they looked at that and they said that this is a place where you can actually grow local human resource. And that one clinched it. So Kisumu now, I think that the land is there. In the next 2 years, we're going to have made in Kisumu medication, and that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. In fact, they went to eight countries, including South Africa. And in the end, we were only 2 countries, Kenya and Rwanda. We beat Rwanda. I was so happy when we did that. And the main reasons which Kama said, one of them, the biggest reason, was they looked at us. They eyeballed us, and they saw that our level of integrity and our level of expertise was much higher than any other country. You give us a clap, please, so that we can also feel happy about that. They did that.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
No.
We are done. So let us give I want to give Governor a big round of applause. He's the leader of all these processes, and we thank him for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that before farm access...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Yes, at least, I wanted you to hear the voice of a woman. I wanted to find out whether you have any kind of threats that you can tell us, especially from the angle of patents and protection of intellectual rights. Because as you have said, we have them in Kigali, in Dakar, South Africa, and of course the US. And through digital sequencing, information can easily be leaked out, and you find that counterfeits or duplicates of whatever you are doing is copied elsewhere. So how do you go around protecting your innovation and making sure that whatever you do is innovative and also original, and that there are no counterfeits in the market? My name is Dr. Sarah Olembo. Thank you.
We are not worried about those because our methodology is not copied unless you use the same one. The quality of drugs that we make will tell, and will make people have a high level of trust with what we make. We're not worried about people copying us because they will not touch us because our technology is much higher. They'll have to do the same thing to compete with us, and we are very sure. One thing, Kamal, that you must allow me to say, this team from the US were told that Kenya is a very corrupt country. How are you going to manage it? So when they asked us that question, we said, don't worry, just look at us. We are people whom they have now ascertained. Don't want any bribe from them. We want to just do the thing and do it for our people so that it's done correctly. So today, they are, 3 years down the road, they have not seen anybody asking them for money, including ourselves. In fact, we volunteer. We're just volunteers. Nobody has paid me any money from that country, from that company. But we are doing the job. So that has been one of the tricks that has made this thing very successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Makofi. And Governor, we were going to give you Makofi. Do you want it? Okay, give Governor Makofi. Before we go to farm access, I'd like to ask Peter to introduce the guests that he has that came after lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, before we just go on, I'd like to introduce our ambassador of World Smart Cities Forum, Princess Katarina de Silva. Ironically, her grandmother is Queen Victoria, and you know the Queen Victoria named after her grandmother. So I actually, convinced her to come over here to share all the insights together with, the stakeholders of the county of Kisumu, and also Governor Kisumu. So I'd like to ask you, Princess Katarina, you can have congratulatory remarks or whatever you want to say.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, honoured guests. It is such a great pleasure for me to be here. As an ambassador for the Smart City Forum, I feel that what I've also heard today or this afternoon is it is something that we need to do and move forward. We need to build the hospitals, particularly for cancer. We need to get pharmaceuticals which are not at £1,000 or £20,000, but at a good price, so that everybody can have the opportunity to be treated and to have a life. There's very little of the right drugs at the moment, and I'm so happy to hear that you're trying to do it here in Kisumu. Must apologize. I was here late today because the flights were sort of in trouble from the strikes in London, but my apologies. As Peter said, I am the great-great-great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, and she was a great pioneer for so many different things. She was a pioneer for hospitals, she was a pioneer for her Commonwealth. She was a pioneer in many different ways. So it is also such a great pleasure to be here, part of the Commonwealth, and also because of the smart cities, the hospitals, and all those fabulous things we can do and help people. Many congratulations, Your Excellency, for letting us come here for this conference, and it's such a great pleasure to see you in person, because every time it's always been on a Zoom meeting. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are in the presence of royalty. Just to give you a bit of history, Queen Victoria in around 1880 something received a letter from the Kabaka of Uganda asking her to send medical services to Uganda. 1872. So then he sent the first doctor surgeon to Uganda, who started the Mengo Hospital as a hut then, and that was the beginning of modern medicine in East Africa. So Mengo Hospital then grows, and eventually this is what eventually becomes, Mengo is still going on, but Mulago Hospital, Makerere University starts there. So your great-great-grandmother has her hands in the beginning of modern medicine and the beginning of the first medical school in East Africa, which was Makerere. Congratulations, the history is there. Then in her response, and I've seen copies of the letters, I know you know about them, which are in the museum, in the Buganda Museum, she rewarded the Kabaka with a wooden chair. And that chair is still in that museum up to now. So later on, when we inaugurate the cancer hospital, it will be history repeating itself. Thank you very much. We now have the next presentation from Farm Access. Oh, no, the next introduction not yet done. Yes. I you doing the next one too?
No, I'll make it easier. That we are also honored to have a delegation from Ukraine, led by Bernard Aete, Dr. In honor of accuracy, I'll call upon Aete to introduce the delegation from Ukraine. Aete, please.
Macedonia, not Ukraine.
Macedonia.
It's from Macedonia. Your Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu, Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me firstly to just thank you, sir, for the honor and the privilege to allow us to come alongside the guests whom we have invited. Sir, I will just take 2 minutes to make you remember something, that in Rata in the year 1993, you did give me 100 shillings for presenting a poem about Mandela. We came to Rata's primary school and you were there as a guest, and you gave me 100 shillings, thanking me for that poem. I am most grateful, sir, that the words that you spoke to me then, that education is important, is key, has come to life in my life, because now, sir, I can report to you that I did finish my doctorate and I did it in microeconomics, following after your footsteps. So I'm grateful, Your Excellency. Secondly, sir, allow me to mention that sometimes 2 years ago, the reason why I've come and the reason why we can invite our friends to come, there was a presser at your office, which presser was being given by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, where they opined then and said that Kisumu is the least corrupt county. So I will tell you that at that time we were somewhere at the coast with the Prime Minister of Macedonia, my friend. When he listened to that and thought through what was presented by another agency, indeed his appetite as an investor, as a head of another government, grew, and it became higher and higher for Kisumu. So 2 years down the line, with a number of discussions, friendships, and a number of things that you have done together with His Excellency the Prime Minister, sir, today I can report that he has found it fit to send his delegation here. He was to be here personally, but the protocols were so complicated that he couldn't. But he sent us a large delegation to come. We delegation are led by Anna. I am a native of this land. I come from Uyoma. I'm a resident of Kisumu, but education and work makes us work outside. The Prime Minister of Macedonia has been a friend for many years, because we did with him some courses some times back. And he got lucky, he became the Prime Minister. Now he's able to do the kind of things that he wants to do. I'm grateful to the county government of Kisumu for having organized this, the Africa Smart Cities and Townships Alliance. We believe, and my foundation, Dr. Aete Foundation, greatly believes, sir, that our work is to complement that which you are doing to support you. Because having a professor of your caliber and stature run a city so beautifully, so seriously like this, is something that we must all celebrate. Sir, I can tell you, as a professor of microeconomics, that looking at Kisumu County, both the fundamentals of macro and microeconomic elements of development are quite sound, so that those tailwinds to spur growth in this region are quite okay. That which you have done, that which I've had here being discussed, the presentations which have been made here in sports, which presentations have also been made in health, and in so many other areas, sir, really makes us proud of Kisumu as a county. That is why I decided to invite a team from Macedonia. His Excellency the Prime Minister does say that he will come. Protocols, I will tell you, are very difficult to manage sometimes, but their team is here. So allow me to just invite the head of that delegation, some of them because their flight got here around midday, the private machine that they used, some are a bit tired, they are in their hotel rooms, but then we have an interest in developing in the area of cotton. so that we are thinking of building a ginnery in Kisumu, thinking of how we can do value addition, not only in cotton, but in sweet potatoes and in other areas. And indeed, we are also thinking of how we can spur growth in e-commerce, so that that which we have here, Your Excellency, can be pushed as far as it can go in terms of development. I just want to thank you, because I'll not take this microphone, sir, most graciously, that, sir, I thank your office for this facilitation and for the ability to host this delegation. So I'll request Anna to come and make a speech. Thank you. Just in 2 minutes, and then we'll be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ate. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for invitation. Governor, thank you so much for having us today. It's a pleasure for us. It's an honor, a big honor. So basically, now we are here with a big mission that involves our future of the country, especially Kisumu, and our mission is to have, like, using e-commerce, using other opportunities to improve in different fields. Nowadays, we are focusing on improving cotton manufacturing, which will be afterwards, in maybe many years, we will do export, we will do a lot of new projects with that. However, just to start, I think it's a big opportunity, and for us, it's a big honor to be here, to present, to spend the time here, even a short time, but thank you so much having us here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that opportunity. Your Excellency, God richly bless you, and may Kisumu County be the great county that it is, even greater county that it is becoming, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my English, because it's not super. Sorry. Yes, I come here first for invitation. I'm very proud for stay here. It's very good opportunity for the city and Africa, and very good for opportunity for the Macedonia. Why? Because Macedonia is very interesting for exports. Yes, in cotton. I'm aware how the sorry. I'm good. My good connection same in Bangladesh, where I live 6 months. I hope how is produced the cotton. A good opportunity same here in Africa. Thank you.
I think what he's trying to say is that because of the tariffs that Donald Trump had put on Bangladesh, Bangladesh had been the traditional supply base for the cotton industry in Macedonia. So it has become very costly and very expensive for them to export their cotton to Macedonia. Those tariffs have not been have not hit us as hard as they have hit Bangladesh. That is why they want to just partner with the local farmers. We are interested in just doing education under the PPP arrangement. Have the ginnery here. We train our farmers. We give them the seeds. We give them the enablement so that we can go forward together. That is, I think, what he's trying to say in brief, and that is what we want to do. God bless you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who came in after the introductions in the morning? Yes. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Your Excellency, Governor Peter Anyongo, Princess Katerina, Peter, distinguished guests, I have been taken by surprise. to make an introduction for myself, but I am called homegrown product from Kenya. And I am a developer, investor, and I specialize in building services as well. So I am also here looking for opportunities and perhaps even share the extensive knowledge that I have in the construction industry. So I look forward to fruitful engagements with the delegates here over this summit. And I'll be very, very happy if I can go back home after leaving some of the knowledge I have. Thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm deeply honored. Thank you. Maybe name? Yeah, my name is Manminda Singh Jandu. I am third generation in this country. My grandfather's generation came to Kenya in the early 1900s, and they came to a place which is not very far from here in Mount Elgin. There is a sawmill there called Swam Sawmill. So they came to do some maintenance work at the sawmill, and then in the 1930s they came to install new machinery the sawmill had purchased, and from there on they decided to stay back. The family settled in Kitale and in Nairobi and in Arusha. Then from there on the family has grown, and we had family present in Dar es Salaam, Mombasa, Kampala, so all over the region. So indeed it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for that patient hearing.
Thank you very, very much. I think that what's standing out here is that the biggest asset that this region has is its own sons and daughters. You'll see what they can do to bring back whatever they get out there. So you'll see Macedonia here brought by one of us. You'll see the pharmaceutical company brought by others. And I think that maybe the county should now create a special department that just works with the sons and daughters, diaspora, wherever, because that one is an asset that you cannot replicate easily. We move to the next item, which is farm access, and Natalie, karibu.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Mrs. Katarina, all protocols observed. My name is Natalie Huben, and I'm the lead here in West Kenya for a health NGO called Farm Access. And you were talking about sons and daughters of this region. I hope that I can call myself now also a daughter of this region. I just wanted to say I've been 27 years in Kisumu working in healthcare. So I can attest that I have seen the development in healthcare firsthand from where it was there to now. And I can also attest that we're based here because we can see, and I said it this morning, this is a county with a vision. So we fully understand the choice of smart cities to be here. It's a good choice. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say before I started. I hope I can get my slides up. Yeah? So let's start. Okay. So Farm Access. Farm Access is a health NGO where we believe in making inclusive health systems with work, providing quality care. But what for us is very important, and which is also aligned with the mission here, is digital innovations and using data as a currency of trust, and which is also patient-centered. Next slide. So I think it was mentioned already, the common themes here, the overburdened health systems, the weak digital infrastructures, and that's all the areas we are all committed here in this room to work together and see how we can improve. We work in several countries in Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda. But that map comes up funny. The world looks different. And also in India. So, next slide, please. Okay, this is some things missing from the slides. I think this is not how it's supposed to be, but I can tell. So we're building patient-centered data models. That means improving patient journeys to data-driven solutions. So patients know when they go to the hospital that their file is there, that their information is there, that the information is theirs. Other people not running away with it. This is one of our goals. Important is quality. Quality, we believe, is the backbone of everything. And Kenyan government at the moment, as you know, is taking quality very seriously with the Quality of Health Bill. But this county was taking quality already serious for many years. Oh yeah, is taking quality already serious for many years. And they work together with us in a public-private partnership called SafeCare, where we improve quality of healthcare in the health facilities. So we go over and check and see what's there. Medical credit fund. Of course, funding is needed. I'll go a bit in a deep dive in the next slide. We're providing loans to healthcare businesses to support growth. One of the things which is really needed. A practical solution. Enabling demand-side financing. I think our governor here was also ahead of the rest in Kenya when we co-financed and developed a low-cost health insurance together for indigents. And much of what is happening now at the national level, we can attest that it was built on the building blocks from Kisumu and the experience in Kisumu. And we also believe in whatever we do that you advocate it on scientific evidence, so you know what you're talking about. We're collaborating with public and private sector to deliver more value. I wanted to mention Medical Credit Fund. It's been the first impact fund for health SMEs. As we know, there's a shortage in the health sector in sub-Saharan Africa of around $25–30 billion. The Medical Credit Fund tries to provide loans and cash advances to help. So over the years, we've provided 12,000 loans, up to 185 million disbursed. And we have a high level of loan repayment, and 2,100 health SMEs have been reached. And what I said, I also find it important to make it practical so you understand. So the products we support are working capital, equipment for health facilities, construction for health facilities, and we do cash advances. So if you're interested, we are here with some of our staff in the booth and we can really go in depth with you and explain what this means. But whatever we do, what I said, we build upon quality. So if you get, or if you would like a loan, then we also look at the quality aspects of what's going on. Because we know, and it has been provided by evidence, that poor quality of care causes more deaths than lack of access to care. And if you see the numbers, they're quite shocking. 60%, 5 million people a year die due to poor quality health care. 40%, 3.6 million people a year die due to lack of access to healthcare. To address this, we all know the harsh reality settings which we've seen with a lot of, and especially also the pandemics which were already mentioned earlier, the high prevalence of diseases, the malaria. So we've been very much into promoting healthcare standards and safe quality standards. It's a stepwise approach, and it's simple and it's directed for resource-restricted context. It uses international accredited standards, so your quality is internationally recognized. And what we very much believe in is empowered by data insights. So have the data available at your fingertips for decision making, for where you will put your resources in. Have it visible on your phone, on your dashboard, anytime, real life. And we believe also it enhances impact and your medical business performance. So what I mentioned, it captures data real time and informs actions. You can very quickly see where you do well and where you don't do well. Am I doing poorly in my lab? Am I doing poorly in human resource or in diagnostics? Immediately it's visible. And you have a quality improvement plan where you can know directly what you can do. Also, we can show, if you have several facilities, you can compare, benchmark, who's doing what where. And also the government is now getting good insights on the quality. So, what I mentioned, quality and data is a currency of trust. So it helps health professionals and facilities, private partners, investors. It's easier to get investors if you can demonstrate and that you have good quality care. People trust you. Same for government and public partners, if they can provide this evidence and take it forward. And my last slide. So Safe Care, we work 21 countries. Also in India, I wanted to mention. We started working there from last year. It's a very trusted quality benchmarking system. We have 32 Safe Care partners using the platform. We have over 7,000 people for health facilities connected to the Safe Care platforms. And over 8 million people, patients, that thanks to Safe Care can now access quality certified care. And that includes Kisumu. I wanted to thank you very much for your attention and this great initiative. Thank you.
Any questions, Natalie? Any questions, Natalie? Safe Care has been in Kisumu, and probably Kisumu region has its biggest investment in Kenya.
Yes, from the beginning. And I think what I mentioned at the beginning, the link, because Kisumu has been so visionary. So they've been an example. And we've built on the example, and as you can see, rolled out in 21 countries worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you for your sharing your whole thing about, because we've been trying to build up the medical city with the cancer center. On the flip side of the coin, we also, because there are a lot of patients, the patients is not reach all of them, right? So we need to think about the insurance, proper insurance, and we just want to know exactly what's the percentage of the group of the people, potential patients, can be covered by the insurance, right?
Okay, I think actually the best in the room to answer this question is Professor Camarogo, because this is also about the national health insurance, which is nowadays called SHA. Prof, I'm happily handing over the phone to you to answer this question.
Thank you, Natalie. I was going to ask that we side chart this, because it's a very, very big area. But where Kenya is right now, Kenya was one of the first African countries to start a form of social health insurance. Started way back in 1966 under what was called the National Hospital Insurance Fund. It grew to the point where it covered roughly 9,000 households. It was a household cover, and each household, if you multiply by 5, then gives you an idea of how many people have covered. However, the current government, when they came in power, they squashed that and came up with a new one called social health insurance, SHA, S-H-A. And that is what's there right now. The aim of this is to have everybody covered for primary health care. And that one you should register, and it should be free. Then beyond that, secondary care and other care, you will pay some money. And that is the one that is right now growing. It has the usual teething problems that you have with social health insurance, undercapitation, the management system, the human resource, both for the insurance and on the service delivery side. And it is hoped that when we are through with those teething problems, then we are going to get people covered. When it comes to chronic diseases, there's also a special fund that covers chronic diseases that the government put aside for that. But that amount of money that has been put in that fund is too little compared to the quantity of chronic diseases, renal, cardiac, cancers, and so on. So we are in that transition stage from an old to a new one, but also transition in terms of partial coverage to full coverage. The biggest problem that we have is that the people who are in formal employment, the contribution is paid by the employer from the salary. But what we have a problem with is people who are not in formal employment. And that is still a problem all over Africa. That how do you, number one, determine how much they should pay? And number two, how do you get them if they're not in the tax bracket? So when we start our cancer center, that's something that we're going to be having to deal with because it's still not working where it is. The cover also is to some extent when you're sent abroad, like India, for example, receives quite a few of our cancer patients. They're also supposed to help pay that. But I think that Professor Nyong'o can also talk to that because some of it made the changes happened when he was Minister for Health.
Thank you very much, Kama. I think when I was Minister for Health, through first in the National Economic and Social Council, let me go back a little. When I was Minister for Planning and National Development, we established an institution called, it was called the National Economic and Social Council. The aim of the National Economic and Social Council was to set policy of development for the government, all departments. And we discussed health insurance. Our proposal was that we should have a social health insurance scheme and not a national health insurance scheme. We were insuring people, and that the government should take the responsibility for ensuring that every Kenyan is covered health-wise. We proposed that the citizen and the government should share responsibility. So we said, fine, the government is prepared every year to put aside some money in the budget for health insurance, but there should be counterpart contribution by the citizen. And we argued that citizens are of different economic capacity or income. And so people should pay according to their ability. So we established a principle, I remember. It's even in the Economic Recovery Strategy agenda. We established a principle called from each according to his or her ability to each according to his or her need. In other words, I would be paying more to social health insurance because I earn more than my bodyguard who is sitting over there. So he'll pay less than me. Maybe I'd pay 5 times to the kitty than him. But when he is sick, he has 100% access to health cover. When I am sick, I have 100% to health cover. Hence the principle from each according to his ability to each according to his or her need. Unfortunately, that proposal didn't sit well with some people, especially big money people, that it was never implemented by the government under the Kibaki first when I was Minister for Planning. Then there was an election and the coalition government came in and I was Minister for Health, and we tried to implement it, that policy, and we couldn't. So in the end, we continued with this social health, National Health Insurance Fund. Again, I argued and I think we succeeded to some extent, that the principle of people paying according to their ability should be implemented. And to some extent it was, isn't it? So that there was a difference between how people contribute to that insurance fund. But it was called the National Hospital Insurance Fund. That's another problem I had then as Minister for Health. I said, you are only insuring people when they are in hospital. In fact, you are dealing with the last stage of health. People are now sick. But you should think of health as people who are healthy. So let's change the name of this thing from the National Hospital Insurance Fund to the National Health Insurance Fund. And I think we succeeded. Did we, Kama? That it became National Health Insurance Fund. Now, the problem has always been that although during that period of time when I was Minister for Medical Services, the contribution to the National Health Insurance Fund and the according to people's income and so on, and the manner in which it was paid was very successful. Now it has been changed to something I personally don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic of saying the government will put some fund, people will contribute to it, the kitty will be somewhere else, here it is in Qatar or something, the money from the health insurance, and then the government will manage it. I don't know, I quite honestly don't know how it works, but maybe the people in our government at the moment. What I know, however, is that at the county level, we take care of our workers in the sense that we encourage them to be members of the National Health Insurance Fund, or SHA, as it's called now, but at the same time, the county has a kitty for supplementing our workers when the National Health Insurance Fund cannot cover everything. I think we vote some money in the budget for that effect, just in case. But I think that in the final analysis, the debate must be concluded to ensure that nobody in the Republic, when they are sick, misses health coverage or misses treatment. Nobody. Whether you have contributed to a health insurance scheme or not, the most important thing is to come up with a policy and a framework to ensure that every Kenyan have access to health care. We have enough experience in the past from all these proposals, as I have counted them, narrated them, that we should now settle down to something that will work, that everybody and the government are agreed to. That's my point, Pagama. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a very big topic. We'll touch on it tomorrow a little bit too in one of the sessions, but it's one that we can't exhaust. Allow me to introduce a final presentation today, keeping the best for last. And this will be the Konza Technopolis. This is one of the wonders of Africa, and I hope that you will get it in Technicolor. Konza.
Hello, hi, good afternoon. My name is Jackson Karieri. I'm from Konza Technopolis Development Authority. And just a background, as they are preparing the presentation to be displayed on the screen, is that Konza Technopolis Development Authority is the agency that is responsible for overseeing the implementation of Konza Technopolis to be a smart city. So this is a national government project. So we are the agency that we are overseeing the implementation of Konza Technopolis to be a smart city. And to our visitors, Konza Technopolis is about 60 kilometers from Nairobi. So ideally, when you look at the map of Kenya, you will find that Konza is somewhere located within 3 That is the county of Machakos, county of Makueni, and the county of Yado. It's okay, we can start. Ideally, I have a very brief video to introduce a recap of Konza Technopolis on the status of the current project of what we have. Can you play the video on the next slide? Yes. You can put the audio. So ideally, the journey started back in the year 2009 with the cabinet approval. Then after that, we started with the master planning of the entire city. So master planning is to ensure that the city is, and then we now go to full implementation. The implementation of the city is done into phases. So we have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Please, you can work on the audio. Audio, it has. Okay, it's okay. If it's okay, we can continue with the slides, no problem. We can continue with the slides. Go to the next slide. So that is the model of Konza from the architectural model of the specific designs of the buildings that we are currently implementing. So we have the status of Konza Technopolis as it is now. I wanted to show you because everything is on that video. It's okay, you can go next. So this is the roadmap of Konza Technopolis. From the year 2009, first we started with the cabinet approval, whereby first is the conceptualization and approval. And then between 2012 and 2014, we had the master planning development. So initially, Konza Technopolis, the authority itself was located in Westland, that is Capital West. Planning of the entire Konza Technopolis. Go next. Yeah, you can stop there. So between 2014 and 2016, that is when we started with the implementation kickoff. So implementation of Konza Technopolis is done into phases. So we have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So ideally on phase 1 is about 400 acres, whereby our key focus now is to ensure that we do the horizontal infrastructure. So under the horizontal infrastructure, we are focusing more to ensure that we do the streetscapes, we do the utility tunnels and the rest. And then between 2016 and 2020, that's when we did the implementation phase, whereby we did the phase 1 development, launching of Konza Innovation Ecosystem, Konza Greening and relocation to Konza Technopolis. I remember this was during the COVID period. That's when we migrated back to Konza Technopolis, that is the city. And then between 2021 and 2022, that is the acceleration stage, whereby we launched our second strategic plan. And then we also did a national data center. And then construction of Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology began. And then also we started investor onboarding. And then from there, 2022 beyond, this aggregation stage, whereby now we are focusing more on vertical development. So this to ensure now for our investors, they are fully covered, so that all the buildings that currently happening is well planned. So currently we are done about 80% of phase 1 that is committed to investors, and 90% of the infrastructure development of phase 1 currently is completed. And then we've been able to create more than 3,000 jobs, both directly and indirectly, and also more than 50 million injected into the economy in terms of salary and monthly remunerations. You can go to the next one. So what are our key foundations? We are built under key foundations. For example, we are looking at the Kenya Vision 2030 and specifically under economic pillar. So within the economic pillar, we have our key priority areas focusing on tourism, agriculture, livestock, and trade. And then apart from that, we have the better plan. This is the agenda for the current government, whereby focusing more on improving livelihoods, welfare of Kenya. And then we have the UN Sustainable Development Goals, looking at a universal that respects human rights and human dignity for the rule of law. You can go to the next one. So this is the map of Konza Technopolis, which is very important. What you can see at the far end, it may not be clear, but at the center, this is now currently phase 1. This is the entire map, whereby I was talking about that it is seated within 3 counties. So you can see that on this side we have Machakos County, on the other side we have Kajiado County, and this other side is Makueni County. So apart from that, we have the buffer zone. So we have a radius of a 10-kilometer radius. This is to ensure that the city is not does not attract like a slums or mushrooming of unplanned development. So we have a controlled development of a radius of 10 kilometers within the city. So being able to create about we can look at 73,000 acre of Konza Technopolis and then 10-kilometer radius of buffer zone. Go to the next one. So this is our key development approach. Looking at the government, this is the key foundation, focusing more on foundation, that is the horizontal infrastructure, looking at the policy, and those also on attracting private development. And then we are not working alone, we're also working with our investors, especially on the innovators, academia, and other industries. So what is a technopolis? Ideally, a technopolis is a city that is being supported by technology, whereby we're using now technology to run the city and solve any kind of city problem. For example, we're looking at pollution. We're using sensors within the city to ensure that we're able to detect these solutions and be able to take any corrective measures. When it comes to traffic, we're using technology. We're using intelligent traffic system to ensure that traffic within the city, in and out of the city, is well controlled, and we're able to collect all this data for analysis. So this is just ideally of a model of a city that uses now technology to ensure or to improve the livelihood of its citizens. This is the master plan. This is the current picture of Konza Technopolis. At the far end, you can see that is Mombasa, Mombasa Road. This is part of phase 1 development and part of the construction site. This building is a Konza complex, whereby now that is our office working areas. You can go to the next one. So these are some of the old photos. You can see at the far right end, that is former president, late President Mwai Kibaki, together with our Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And then the far end, we have the current president when he was the DP, laying the foundation for Konza Technopolis. These are some of the construction works of the previous construction activities that was happening at Konza Technopolis. Go to the next one. Yeah, so this is the master plan of Konza. You can see the master plan of Konza Technopolis of the 5,000 acres. One key important thing is that it is being divided into zones. So we have a zone for education area, we have a zone for mixed use area, we have a zone for recreation activities, we have a zone for commercial activities. For example, if you are an investor and you're coming to put an investment that focuses more on education, we have the this is Kenya Institute of Science and Technology. When you go, currently it is located within the education sector. Now if you're building a data center, currently the Konza National Data Center is located within the technology band. So we've been able to segregate or be able to separate each and every type of development into a specific zone. So this to ensure we have concentration of each and every development. Then, so these are some of the construction operations management activities. You are looking at the horizontal infrastructure, what currently has been done, and then at the vertical development currently, you can see about the Konza conference that is currently ongoing, the Technopolis project, the Konza office block, furnished apartment, Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. We are talking about the Riara University that is also almost completion. We're also talking about other investors that currently are happening. For example, we have Lucky Jeans, we have the affordable housing units which are being done, about 2,000 units. So as we speak, currently we have a lot of vertical development within Konza Technopolis. So these are some of the best, some of the statistics of status projects that has been happening. For example, what we've been able to do, about 7.5 megaliters of water treatment plant. So what happened, being able to plan the city side that within the 400 acres of phase 1. So we have the high end and the low end areas. So when it rains now, this water runs. We're able to collect this water and take it to the water reclamation facility and then pump it to the highest point for treatment. So this water will be able now to use it for water, for greening purposes within the city. So this to ensure sustainability. And then one thing is that we have the green certification of our buildings. So all our buildings are certified to be green. This is more on energy conservation and use of renewable energy sources. For example, solar. For lightening for the buildings within the city, we're using purely solar. And then we are talking about the water reclamation facility, 6,000 cubic meters of water collection, streetscape, about 40 kilometers of streetscape. These are the roads. And then we have automatic solid waste collection. So we have segregation of solid waste within Konza Technopolis. And then we have an automatic solid waste, whereby you are able to vacuum, suck the different component of the solid waste, and they are separated. And then we have the collection for recycling. recycling, but we don't recycle within Konza. And then we have the utility tunnels, about 170 utility tunnels. So ideally within the utility tunnels, that's where we have the ducts. The ducts are for fiber, we have electricity, and even for water. So this ideally we use for transporting utilities within the city. And then we are talking about landscape, we are talking about electricity, and even the public facility within the Konza Technopolis. For example, the welcome center, when you come at the gate, we have the welcome center that is there located. Go to the next slide, please. Infrastructure that has been able to enable a smart city for Konza innovation ecosystem. We are talking about the call center. We are talking about the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology that is currently completed. We are talking about the Konza Digital Media Cities. It's one of the upcoming projects that we're currently doing. And then light manufacturing, focusing more on IoT, focusing more on centers of excellence, and even logistics. This is whereby we're able to use technology to do transportation or even manufacturing of small items that uses IoT within Konza Technopolis. So these are some of the future projects that are upcoming. You can go to the next one. Yeah, enabling digital economy and smart city. So what have we done when it comes to digital transformation within the government? Currently, as we speak, we are digitizing the government services and be able to work with key players. For example, we have the 1450 digital hubs, constructing a digital hub within each and every ward in the country. So these are some of the technology solutions that we are doing within our state department. For example, integrating platform for the government and private sectors. On skills capacity buildings, we are not working alone, we are working together with our partners, and then innovators, innovative digital solutions. We have a Konza Silicon Savannah app whereby you're able to download, even to access all our solutions within one particular marketplace. Then Konza Technopolis at a glance. So this is our framework. Ideally, we are looking at participation of the citizens in a smart way, transportation and utilities. We have natural resources and conservations. We have smart living. We have smart people and smart economy. So all this talking together within this particular framework or ecosystem. Digital solution that I've been able to talk about in a brief. We have the data center, which is very key. Be able to construct a tier 3 national data center, a cloud national data center. So this is whereby different both for public and private. So it is purely cloud. And then we have a disaster recovery data center. This is for the same. We are commercializing currently. So we started it from conceptualization up to commercialization. And then we have phase 1 of the smart city facility. We are talking about the IOC. We are talking about the smart posts. We are talking about the video surveillance systems. We are talking about the city fiber networks, all these solutions within the city. And then we have Government of Kenya digitization programs that we've been able to do. We have development and operations of one-stop shops for our investors, whereby they can access all the utilities or all these services within one particular desk. Then what are we talking about Konza Technopolis? You wake up, you live, you sleep, you work from the same environment. For example, in the morning, 5 a.m., you wake up, you can even do your exercise. We have a space whereby you can be able to walk, you can be able to run. We have smart cycling services or utilities that you can be able to do. Yeah, living within a city and access all these services at one particular area. Then digital solutions, I've been able to talk about this. I just want to be brief. For example, we're talking about smart poles. This is one of the essential solutions that we've been able to do 130 units within phase 1. So ideally, a smart pole is a pole that consists of various components. We're talking about digital signage, we're talking about Wi-Fi component, we're talking about environmental sensors. For example, all these sensors collect data about temperature, wind, humidity, and we have an IOC, Intelligence Operations Center, that we're able to view all this data in one particular platform. So it's very important for us because it helps us to make very proactive decisions. Some of the pictorials of the activities that we've been able to do, we are talking about the digital enablement program that we've been able to do, working together with the TVETs, participating in the national innovation programs, some of the pictorials with our cabinet secretaries, the former one, our CEO there you can see, and even with our innovators. This is the national data center that I was talking about. It is purely tier 3, offering 3 kinds of 3 service models of cloud computing, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and even software as a service. So it is a complete ecosystem for all our innovators. This is the model of the approach that we've been able to do when it comes to deployment of the data center purely on a fusion module. So some of the assurance to our customers when it comes to uptime availability, we are certified by Uptime Institute. So this is to ensure that our services is 99.98. What that means that when you host your services with us, when it comes to issues of downtime, you will not experience any of that. So these are some of the certifications that are very important. For example, the Green Building certification, the Tier 3 from Uptime Institute, and even some of the local certifications from Communication Authority of Kenya. These are some of the cloud offering solutions that we have within Konza Cloud, which is very important for our clients and even for our partners. Go to the next one. Ideally, the Silicon Savannah that I was talking about, one platform, just like Google Play Store or even the App Store from Apple. So we also have a Silicon Savannah App Store whereby we are not working alone with our innovators and be able to deploy and push some of the applications and even be able to be consumed by our clients. So these are some of the solutions that have been able to work with different counties. For example, we are talking about the county revenue management system. We are talking about the health management systems. For example, the public, the PCN project that we've been able to do, workflow development, that is the EDMS solutions, and even the Sajili time and attendance solutions, among others. Yeah, you can go to the next one. I think we're almost done. Our key partners when it comes to technology, we are talking about Microsoft, we're talking about Oracle, we're talking about Huawei. These are some of the key partners that have been able to work together when it comes to operationalizing our data center and even driving the digital agenda for the government. I think that marks the end of my presentation. These are some of the opportunities that are there within Konza Technopolis. You can come and invest with us. When it comes to different categories, we are talking about technology, we are talking about health, we are talking about education, we are talking about commercial activity, real estate, and the rest. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wow. Can you summarize that in 1 minute?
Yeah, the video was to summarize everything within 1 minute. I really wanted you to watch that video. It's a brief video that is very good.
I think this is important because we all know about Konza, but we don't know anything about Konza. So if we can at least leave this room with 1% of the people understanding.
Exactly.
And even as they put on, why isn't share data with you?
Share data, okay. Ideally, share is being it's controlled by consortium. We have Safaricom, we have Convergence, and the rest. The solutions. Okay, we were not part of the implementations. They approach us when it comes to hosting the data, and we are open, we have the resources and everything. But as we speak, we are in the process of onboarding them, but I can confirm that it's not yet complete. Yeah.
Can you do it?
Sorry? Yeah, we can do it, because we've been able to do even for larger institutions that have programs that are bigger than the SHA program eventually. Yeah.
So Konza, actually the first facility provided by the Korea's KAIST.
Exactly.
KAIST is one of the top university in technologies, and I was delivering the master plan for South Korean smart city. It's basically very, very close model. What you're showing us. One already built cities. There are 2 cities in South Korea. Next time, I think maybe John needs to be coming down to Korea with Governor of Kisumu together this December. And I'd like to show you around the 2 cities. One is Songdo. Another one is Pangyo.
Pangyo city. Yes.
Pangyo is the Silicon Valley of Asia now. Is actually, I believe that maybe 10% of the entire GDP it basically come out of a whole GDP of South Korea in one single platform. So I think if you maybe Konza Technopolis is actually trying to benchmark is basically about tech oriented, the startups, SMEs and labs, academic kind of collaboration. Everything should be really concentrated in that area. Just forget about 5,000 acres. I don't believe that 5,000 acres can be built that way. So you gotta just really concentrate and prioritize exactly what you're trying to do. But every angle's like a data center. We are actually talking about AI-driven data centers these days. It requires high quality and constant energy platform. So before you just build something, you need to think about the supportive infrastructure can maintain the function of the city. And most important thing, you need to attract the people to live and work proximity, home and workplace, should be in Konza. I don't believe people live in Nairobi or Kisumu and work in Konza. No, that's something different.
Yes, I want to acknowledge the support that we are getting from the Korean government. First is by the establishment of Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, and we expect by end of the month the university will be issued with a charter. That is one thing. The next thing that is coming from the Korean side is the Konza Digital Media City, a project that is upcoming, and we've been able to learn from them. For example, we've done a lot of benchmarking. We've been able to do a lot of borrowing from them, from our master plan. He's talked about the Songdung. We're talking about the Busan city. These are some of the smart cities that the Korean government have been able to develop from the scratch up to where it is, and be able to learn about the journey, because building a city from the scratch, doing it right from the scratch, it's not a journey that you can do it within a day. It takes years and years to be implemented, and we really appreciate for the support. Thank you. So if the video is ready, we can have a snippet watch.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah.
Welcome to Konza Technopolis, a visionary smart city in the heart of Kenya, a flagship project under Kenya's Vision 2030. Konza Technopolis is a 5,000-acre smart and sustainable city, strategically located 67 kilometers from Nairobi along the Nairobi-Mombasa Highway.
Konza Technopolis was established to enable Kenya move towards what we call a digital economy, to be able to accelerate its growth in innovation and knowledge economy.
We are at the forefront
So
of
there
ensuring
is our
that
CEO,
we are
John
able to
Paul
provide
Okwiri.
technological solutions to the problems that we have as a country.
So we are looking at a city that will be adjacent to the capital
Then we have
city
our
of
Chief
Nairobi,
Manager,
but that is
Josephine
developed
Nambuki.
with the 21st century standards of smart city development, embracing technology and embracing and creating an environment that facilitates research, innovation and commercialization of this research.
But why should you invest in Konza Technopolis?
So that
Join
is our
us
national
as we
data
explore
center.
the
That is
compelling
a real
reasons.
video of Konza Technopolis, the street gates that I
It
was
is a
talking about.
special economic zone with attractive fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for investors and businesses.
The fiscal incentives
Then we
are
have our
tax-related
able manager,
benefits
Agatha
like
Kakui, who
the
is
VAT
currently in the
is
house.
zero-rated. We have the excise duty that is not charged on goods
in
and
charge of
services
investor
produced within
facilitation
the zone.
within Konza
The stamp
Technopolis
duty
and
is
attraction.
exempted for instruments that are executed within the zone.
We believe with what has been put in Konza Technopolis, with the
That is our
establishment of a
DS2
research
for our power
institute,
distribution within
Kenyan
Konza
enterprises can build the innovativeness and their innovative capabilities by locating at Konza Technopolis. SMEs can go to Konza and to be able to grow. Startups can go to Konza and to be able to prosper. Research facilities can be located at Konza and will bring better results.
We have the system, and that entails the road network,
An aerial view
sewerage
of a
network,
different facility
stormwater
within
drainage,
Konza. That is the water reclamation
the
facility.
clean water system, the irrigation network, the power system, the fiber optic.
That is our power distribution
The city
center.
also boasts of open spaces, sports and entertainment facilities, making it a wholesome place to work, live and play.
We call this a 15-minute city. For every 15 minutes walk, come across an open park or a public utility. There are walkways, there are pedestrian cyclist ways. Come and try your scooter right here in Konza. Very good quality of life, is very
Current
well
status
assured.
of our street
And this is
gates.
the place to be for your investment, for you to work, to live and to play.
And you're calling it light industrial because you're concerned with assembly of vehicles, assembly of motorcycles, and production of end user technology equipment, including laptops, phones, and all gadgets that can be used in technology.
It also incorporates a 1,000-acre wildlife corridor with a wide variety of wildlife species and birds.
The first residents of this city are the wildlife. We have different species. We have zebras, wild beasts, we have gazelles, and we have ostriches. We have a biodiversity management plan that seeks to safeguard the wildlife within the city.
Investing in Konza Technopolis comes with numerous advantages.
At Konza, we are also developing a digital media city. There's an emerging economy in the creative space with the technology. And so the Konza Digital Media City seeks to position Kenya as an Africa filming destination, complete with facilities to undertake innovations in gaming, virtual reality, animation, and film, photography, all this in one space.
Accessibility is a key feature, with Konza Technopolis being located strategically 67 kilometers southeast of Nairobi and close to major transport hubs like Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and the SGR stations.
Konza has a one-stop shop that supports investors in the onboarding process that has been simplified. And investors are handheld through the process, and they are facilitated to obtain required approvals, permits and licenses.
As an investor, when you get into Konza, you don't have to get out of the 5,000 acres necessarily to get anything. You'll get everything you need for your production or your investment, and you'll also access not just local but international markets.
Affordability is another attractive aspect, with subsidized and predetermined lease rates based on allowed densities. Konza is also home to the National Data Center, available for use by both public and private organizations.
The National Data Center is a state-of-the-art facility in Konza Technopolis. It provides us with the opportunity to host data. And as you know, data is the oil of today. That means that we stand an opportunity to make use of the data that we have and provide opportunity and solutions using the data.
We are the only one in Africa to have attained LEED Platinum in terms of sustainability. So for us to get LEED Platinum, then it means we've really embedded sustainability principles in our data center.
All projects in Konza Technopolis are certified as green projects, ensuring efficient use of resources and sustainability.
For each and every building in Konza, they will need to undertake green certification.
Konza Technopolis is not just an investment in real estate, it is an investment in the future, a future where technology, innovation, and sustainability converge to create a thriving ecosystem for businesses and residents alike.
Konza Technopolis presents limitless opportunities for all of us, and we urge you to come in and participate and be part of Africa's Silicon Savannah. And we do look forward to having you on board. Karibuni sana.
Be part of this great transformation. Invest at Konza Technopolis. For more information, log on to www.konza.go.ke or email us at invest@konza.go.ke. Konza Technopolis, where innovation meets opportunity.
Oh, thank you for watching.
Questions on Konza? I know you now know it very well. Questions? Everybody is satisfied now, you know Konza. Dr. Rai?
Yeah, of course. Konza does not follow the typical genesis of cities or towns. The old genesis of cities or towns followed routes of travel, and for some reason people decided, including Nairobi, Kisumu, wherever, for some physical management of assets. Konza was more of a concept, and the concept was grown in terms of using people with ideas and technologies as a smart technological city. But I did believe that technology, as it stands today, can influence very remote places. So Konza can influence Turkana, can influence Migori,
Very true.
can influence all those people. So it should be an ecosystem that operates in a wider space. But this, I come out with the idea that you're calling for investments which are physical into the Konza space, like the traditional cities. I'm just wondering, is that not moving away from the concept of technology?
Okay, thank you for that question.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking us through Konza.
Thank you. Karibu.
My name is David Ogoro. I represent Kenya National Association for the Deaf. I'm a person with a disability. I'm happy to see Konza. I would like to ask, when you are planning for the Konza, did you include people with disability for the accessibility? Is it possible for people with disability to access? How long does it take for a person maybe to make movement there? Because I've seen a lot of movement, a lot of corners. How long does it take a person to make, or you can walk, or is it you can move around, moving with just making by footing, or you can be using vehicles or motorcycles? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could I just summarize a few questions?
Exactly.
And thank you very much for taking that question from our colleague. Here we are at this summit. We have the oldest city, Kampala. You have the youngest town, Ndiwa.
Yes.
What message are you giving them? Some of the cities are represented here by their management boards and so on, like Kisumu. What does Konza offer them? Or what can they learn from your experience in Konza of things that they shouldn't do? And secondly, we have a regional presence here with Uganda and Tanzania and so on. What does that mean to our neighbor across the border in Uganda, given that technology now crosses borders?
Yes, to start with the last one, that is with our neighbors Tanzania and Uganda and even Rwanda. And also I want to acknowledge that the city of Rwanda is also doing a very good job when it comes to development and even observing some of smarter solutions. Then what are we do? We are not competing with even our neighbors, but we are offering a platform or an ecosystem whereby they can come and integrate or work together with us. For example, we are talking about investors. And this one is also interlinked with the first question that why focus on physical investors who will do physical investment, coming and uptake of specific parcels of land, then doing the vertical development of those particular lands. Ideally, this is very important because what we are looking at is not only looking at physical development of Konza Technopolis, uptake and even doing vertical development, but also when it comes to other types of development like the technology development. Now, currently Konza, the word Konza came from the location where Konza Technopolis is. But then again, God willing, in few times to come, we are going to have the Technopolis bill that it will see the day, the light of the day. So what that means that we are working with our Minister of ICT to establish a bill that will allow the establishment of Technopolis not only in Konza but in the entire country. So what that means is that even in Kisumu, we can have establishment of a Technopolis. Even in Lamu, even in Turkana, anywhere within the country, we can have establishment of these Technopolises that will be well master planned. That is one. And then from persons living with disabilities, what are we doing? We've been able to consider every angle, every aspects of persons or people living with disability. For example, when it comes to our buildings, they are friendly, or they have accessibility to the needs, to the special needs. For example, we are talking about the stairs access using a specific or special type of acceleration stairs, or even when it comes to the lift. When you go even to our washrooms and even the building or even the facilities, all of them are friendly to special needs people. And we've been able to do this for all our buildings. And these are also done, they are also part of our implementation guidelines. For example, even for investors, before they do their buildings, it has to be reviewed and approved by our internal committee teams. And we are not working alone. So they have to observe all those guidelines, and they are very well stipulated in paper so that they are implemented to ensure that conformity is very, very important. So being able to address. And then when it comes to motor vehicle, motorcycles and everything, access to the city, no. Reason we want to show that Konza Technopolis is not only a smart city but a unique city. For example, we have the auto boulevards. We have a dedicated lines within the city whereby we are going to have like the rapid bus corridor. We are using smart cyclists. For example, when everything has to come with technology. So when you are talking about using the old motorcycle, the old matatus, all this is not within Konza. We've not been able to consider them because we want to ensure that we use technology. When it comes to bus, we also use smart transport within the city. This is to ensure that we also have to control the crowd that is coming in and out of Konza Technopolis. I think in a brief I've been able to answer some, if not all, of the questions. We have our director there who will want to address some of the questions.
I think the issue of persons with disability, even in terms of employment, I mean, the national requirement is about 5% in the organization. We've attained 3%, and we work with the Association of the Physically Challenged, because even in terms of employment, we try and get that threshold. Not just for visitors, but we try as much as possible, and when we do, we have any opportunities, we get in touch with their associations as well. The other thing is, when you get to Konza now, through the gates, as you register or you come in, you can actually be informed where you can get parking. As at now, you can be directed on your phone where you can get the best parking depending on what station you're going to. So, the bottom line, please, you are invited, come and see for yourself, and invest as well.
Thank you, Director.
Yes, I have a question, an observation, and another question. The first question is, why would a government organization undertake running a data center? That might be a very simple answer, but I would like to know why that is the case.
Sorry? Come up again, sorry.
I may have misunderstood, but I heard that the Konza has its own data center.
Exactly.
And maybe my understanding of data centers may be slightly different, but that is typically run by specialized or companies that specialize in that. So why would a government undertake that? That's the first question. The other is an observation that from what I've gathered, the model implemented in Konza Technopolis is not for the average Kenyan income. It appears to me to be extremely high end. Either you are investing or you are a significant money to live there. That is an observation which I invite you to correct or clarify. And really the third one is why? Why this model? The Konza model. So I'll stop and get.
Okay, thank you. I will address the first one. I will request Agatha to help me with addressing the second one. The model, it not being for the lower cadre of citizens of Kenya or the average people. Then the third one, I think I'll also be able to address why that model for Konza Technopolis, why that smart city meant to build a data center. For example, some few years ago, the need for centralizing government data was very, very important. And we had to ensure that all government agencies, or when it comes to technology adoption and digitization of government services, we ought to have had our own cloud platform or a digital data center whereby we can host the data, be assured of where it is. For example, due to the need, we have the Data Protection Act of 2019, and one of the requirements is to ensure that people's data, that is the Kenya citizens' data, is hosted either locally or a copy of it is hosted locally. Now we have the Google Cloud, that is being that is OEM from Google, and then we have the Microsoft, that is the Azure from Microsoft, and then we have AWS from that is the AWS company, the Amazon. Then why not Konza Cloud? We have the East African Data Center. Why not Konza Cloud? You see, we have eCitizen, a lot of our data, and I don't want to confirm, but I believe that all of us in the room here, a part of our data is with eCitizen. And then you can assume that this data is hosted somewhere the government cannot even account for it. So due to the need, due to the risk and everything, it was agreed that it was found necessary to have or to establish a national government data center that has the same capacity, that has the same level as Google Cloud, as Microsoft Azure, as AWS or Silicon Valley.
Acceleration of this startup to fruition and to make sure that we support them to survive in the market. Remember, in the market, they can get there and die on arrival. We are looking at least 70% survival of this startup. So our youths are very well supported. And that is where we said, with the partnership of the Korean government, we have the digital media city that is coming to bring the creative economy, to support the youth. So Konza is not about the huge companies or investors who have a lot of money. And then we support academia. If you look at the institutions that Karieri Jackson has mentioned, we have the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, that is postgraduate only, research and development in STEM. We have Riara University at undergraduate level. We have the Open University of Kenya that was chartered by His Excellency as the first online university in the country. And now we are doing a TVET Center of Excellence. And so we are supporting knowledge transfer. We are supporting with internships. We are supporting as acceleration and even sponsorships to make sure that we have adequate knowledge transfer support of the academia. And we offer linkage programs and linkages. We link our investors and our developers, our business people, our enterprises with the financiers, with the market, to make sure that from the top notch, locally and globally, the way we draw our investments and our partners, we have enough for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very, very much. The Konza and my friend and brother Sam, thank you very, very much for being here. I hope that even if your colleagues are going tomorrow, you'll remain here so that we finish the discussion. We are finishing soon, and Professor Derek will summarize what the day has been. But before he does that, allow me to announce that you must come back tomorrow. And not only must you come back, but you must be here early. And early means 5 minutes to 8, not 5 minutes to 10. Why is that so? It's so because the first part of tomorrow, we are going to be discussing seriously issues around environment and housing, which is big in this area, given where the lake is and the ecosystem that we are in, and given the challenges of waste management. We'll also again wade into health and sports with the County Minister for Health and County Minister for Sports here. We shall be showcasing what Cricket Kenya is doing to revive cricket in Kisumu with the renovation of the old Coronation Ground into a beautiful oval of Kisumu. This is going to be the only public cricket pitch in Kenya, and will thereafter host all Kenya's cricket games. So cricket lovers from this part of the world, things are coming back here. But mid-morning is going to be even more interesting, because that's when Peter and all our visitors from India are going to take us through some of the innovative things. And Sapna has a bag full of goodies for universities, for entrepreneurs, both rural and urban. So Ndiwa must be here, just like universities that are here with us and everybody else. We shall also be linking digitally to Korea because there's major presentations that will be made during the mid-morning. Then in the afternoon, we are going to be on to digital economy and creative arts and trade, tourism and industrialization. We will end up in that afternoon led by Dr. Ali Matano, who is a guru really in this Lake region area. If you really want to know anything about the Great Lakes, be there tomorrow. We'll end up tomorrow on gala dinner. And this gala dinner, you have absolutely no reason to want to even think of missing it. For this reason, we will be signing the Asca agreement with all the cities, including the youngest one, to work together. We shall be installing our governor as the inaugural chair of Asca, and we shall also be making an important announcement of commitment and intent to develop the Chun Nyong'o Comprehensive Cancer Center in Kisumu. The details you will get tomorrow, but I would just want to give you a teaser in that it is going to be part of a medical city that we are working on in Kisumu, so that you never have to leave Kisumu or the Lake region for either India, UK or Dubai. Every reason then for us to be together, to put our minds together towards this and make sure that it happens in our lifetime. Allow me to invite Professor Derek to give us a quick 5-minute summary of what he thinks you had today. You can disagree with him, but I will not allow you to do it publicly. Over to you.
Okay, I've got this one. Actually, I prepared slides, and if you take issue with that, just know that professors are predisposed to verbosity. So the slides will keep me focused. So first of all, I do thank everybody, all the participants, and actually the good questions that were raised. Truly a good first day. So, for those who missed it, I really regret that you missed Professor Rogo's welcoming remarks, as well as the not just the welcoming, but also the opening remarks, which gave you or gave very representative or very good representation of why we are here. Okay, I trust that this was recorded, so it will be available after the summit is over. So I encourage you to actually go back to that. And then Dr. Rai, with his booming voice, was able to gather everybody back in line and focused with the quotation that where two or three are gathered. And so there we were. So he started with that, gave everybody a chance to introduce themselves. That was very an icebreaker, if you will. So that was the second thing that we did. Okay, my slides, you may have gone way too fast. Go back. Go back. All right, so go back to His Excellency. His Excellency, the governor came in. He was warmly welcomed. And then he gave a very, very inspiring, informative, encouraging speech. And I'm hoping that I can get a copy of that, because that was a speech of substance. And again, those who may have missed it, I encourage you to go back to the recording so you get it. The next one was co-creating Africa's smart future. That was given by the city planner, Mr. Owinji. And by the way, any of you who may be thinking of being late tomorrow, don't. Because tomorrow I'll give a meaningful summary of what went on today. So this is just a highlight, but tomorrow a truly meaningful summary after I've gone through all the presentations. So make sure you are here. Professor Rogo says 5 minutes before. I'd say 7 minutes before. All right. So the next was the Kisumu, the KLDC, Navigating the Future, Mr. Paul and Jenga Waweru. Very, very colorful slides that gave you a sense of what is coming, what is to come. And also implicit in his presentation is that we're now dealing with a Kisumu that is well planned, well thought out, and that we are pursuing a solid plan. Next, please. All right. The align and no, just one bullet point at a time. Align and integrate stakeholders. Basically, building a symbiotic relationship. That is, we are codependent. We depend on each other. That was covered. And then inclusive growth and job creation. Those were topics that were presented. Then the World Smart City Forum and City Board Chair welcomed the governor. That Peter did that. And next was, they're still going way too fast. So in Peter's, Peter also gave a World Smart City Forum snapshot presentation. And again, tomorrow you'll see a good summary of what that was. It'll all be done within 15 minutes. Then we had highlights from our sister cities, namely Jinja, Kampala, and Homa Bay. And the one notable, I guess, observation that came from that is that they are being hampered by the lack of devolution. In other words, a city that wishes to move faster than the national government is constrained by their laws. Actually, let me point out that we Kenyans have devolution, and therefore there's no reason one county with good leadership cannot excel the others. So we see that the the other cities are actually experiencing that inhibition. Then, of course, we heard, no, go back, please. Then we heard from our youngest city, the last highlight. Highlight the youngest city, Ochogo, in lieu of last born, is also a 2-year-old, 2 years old. Should we presume that that city has temper tantrums of typical 2-year-olds? I wouldn't want to offend him, but it's just an observation. All right, so those are some of the main points that were covered today. Next page, please. All right. Now, there was the welcome from the city engineer, Nyaganga, I believe. He spoke like an engineer, so at least you can feel that somebody is in charge is looking at things. So we appreciate that. After that, we had introductions of our international partners, some of whom really did not get here on time, and truly not through a fault of their own. I'm really thinking of the princess, and so had a chance to actually get to know who they were.
Thank you very much, Derek. You did 7 minutes, and 7 of us who've traveled long distances and therefore need some rest. So we deliberately left this evening for